What's up, geeks and gamers? My name is Draymond, and welcome to Thorium Gaming. We're back with episode 34 of Light of the Asur, our attempts to stabilize the Great Vortex and stave off the forces of chaos and corruption. We've been recalling our valiant troops from over in the Cold Lands. We're possibly going to take out Hotech's column with Chaplain Grimaldus and Fadilace as they come through. Couldn't hurt our efforts any. They have a fair number of movement points right now. The sooner we can get them back to Ulthuan, the better we're going to be. Now, the Druki and Clan Pestilens are on their third ritual right now, so we're running out of time just a little bit. However, if we look at the buildings that we have to maintain for our ritual, if it'll allow it, we would get a bunch of upkeep reduction, public order, global recruitment, fair bit of gold, but we have to keep Lothern, which is of course our capital, which I should be able to hold on my own.
Protector of the Everqueen.
We're going to send Venkat and Sheena Yan up towards the Gaian Vale. We're going to try and pull some forces in from the coast to take Tor-Alir and hold it. I think Gaian Vale is going to be the hardest pressed out of all of them. Just something that's going through my mind right now. Could be good, could be bad. But we're going to try and get our troops a little bit closer to home before we enact the ritual. Now, down in the south areas, I think we still have one of our generals, Eolair, that we inherited. He's going to try and push on towards the skull reefs that are down here. We may end up losing a few cities while we're trying to enact this final ritual. But if we can hold out, defeat the forces of chaos, and hold our three primary towns, that's it. We win. It's not going to be easy, so let's just jump into what we're going to be doing. So Vinkat's got a fairly stable, if not very impressive, army. So let's get him going full speed up towards the Gaian Vale. And Sheena Yan, we're going to do the same thing with you, and we're going to try and get you up there. We can reinforce their armies once they reach the Gaian Vale proper. I mean, the city is maxed out, it has a fairly sizable garrison, should be able to hold out. Now, Tor-Alir, a little bit of a different story, kinda sorta. Its garrison is not nearly as large, given the structures that are in here. It's mostly resources, gold to be precise. But it does have a mage, a noble, a few white lions, and some Lothern Sea Guard. That's why we are trying to bring in Litania and Felindre to try and reinforce it. And of course, Chaplain Grimaldus and Fady are going to come over from the Negarondi side of things, kind of help us out. It's not a perfect plan, but it's not bad.
Can I offer assistance? Charting a course.
But we need to make sure that these two stay together.
Your behest?
Which is kind of worrying. I kind of wanted them both on land this turn, but I don't see any enemy army stacks that can do anything. And if we trash Hotech's column and raise the city to the ground, it should, in theory, allow us to stop the Druki ritual. Now, Clan Pestilens is a different story, but I'm not overtly worried about them. And of course, we are going to possibly try to confederate with the Lore Masters. Kind of slipped my mind there for a second. Get them on our side as soon as we enact the ritual, which means hopefully some of their armies are in place to start rushing to Ulthuan to help us out. We do have some forces off to the east here. Sunshine and Phoenix. What we're going to do with them, because they just took Tor-Yvres, so they're hurting a little bit. But we'll get them to swing in and help it reinforce the Gaian Vale. We're going to do that over the next couple of turns. I don't want to leave the Gaian Vale open. Now, Lothern itself has a massive garrison, including 3 units of Dragon Princes, a Moon Dragon, and a bunch of Sword Masters. plus my own independent army, which has more dragon princes, another dragon, and Phoenix Guard, and more Sword Masters. So, I'm not worried about Lothern. If they try to pile up on Lothern, I'll take care of them. But my faithful generals, mostly you guys, save for the ones that we inherited from the other factions we've confederated with, they might be a little bit of a different story. Now, Sarah does have an army here with a bunch of heroes, and it's fairly strong. I'm wondering if we can actually confederate with them, which would prevent us from confederating with the Lord Masters, but it would give us a rather large army stack in a position that could be put back faster rather than later. And since we don't even have a non-aggression pact with them. Alright, so let's try and get a non-aggression pact then, which for some reason they've rejected. But we do have a little bit of influence saved up. So, let's turn the reputation gains around. A couple of taps of that won't hurt. And if she goes off and starts draining on the Druki, that'll be just fine. So I think that's all we're going to do for this turn. The Druki have 8 turns remaining, and Clan Pestilence has 9. So we have a little bit of time before we're at risk of having to immediately start the ritual. We'll see what the other nations decide to do. On a completely unrelated note, I just got through watching the entire series of Firefly. All 14 episodes. Only 11 of them ever hit television, which is sad. And I'm still to this day confused as to why they didn't get more seasons out of it. I mean, it's a great show. The movie was subpar by comparison, but the show was fantastic. Oh well, we can live and dream. Maybe one day they'll pick it back up and run with it, because it was great. Okay, I'll admit, part of it is that I really like Kaylee. She is just an awesome character. Love the dynamic between Wash and Zoe. The entire crew is just great. It's like the Wild West meets Star Wars meets Starship Troopers, kind of? Because that's what the Fed's armor looks like. It's like knockoff, rip-off, extra armor from Starship Troopers. And Hexoatl just started their last ritual, so we're starting to press on everybody getting up to their final ritual. Definitely running out of breathing room, but not out of time. So I'm not too worried about it. It's a shame that we can no longer do diplomatic options with the lizard men, because that would make life a lot easier. And Otalia is still out there causing problems. Of course, he's the one that took care of other things. And it looks like the Dark Elves sent a intervention force to Hexoatl, which should, in theory, have drained their treasuries enough that they won't send any after us when we begin our ritual. Now, there's a lot of Chaos forces attacking the Druki, Hexoatl, and Clan Pestilence. So maybe the random factions will do our job for us? I mean, there is a giant chaos stack there, but I don't think they'll take Oxil. And the Lizard Man intervention got destroyed. Just a little sad. So let's see what this Dark Elf intervention does. It's a Supreme Sorceress on a dragon. That's a little scary. There was a ritual site in Skeggy. Why did you not take that out? That would have made a lot of sense. Oh well. They're still causing problems for the lizards, and that will work out for us in the end. And after this, I still haven't completely decided what we're going to do for our Mortal Empires campaign. But I'm pretty sure I want to do another Force of Good. but something other than the High Elves. Probably not one of the factions within the Vortex campaign. So, no High Elves, Dark Elves, Lizardmen, or Skaven. Especially not Skaven. I despise how they play. Both tabletop and in this. I don't like swarm armies. I'm too used to being on the other side of them. That might just be my personal experience shining through. There was a guy that played Tyranids when I was playing with his 40k group, and he very much so favored either the giant monster list or the mass of gaunt list. And when he played the gaunt army, it was, well, let's just say it took a long time for him to get through his movement and shooting phases. Assault, not so much. He played a lot of Termagants rather than Hormagaunts. Difference being, Termagants have a little pew-pew parasite gun, Hormagaunts have rending claws. But either way, he had like 300 models or something like that in his force, and it just took forever to get through it. So, it kind of put me off any of the Horde armies, really. Granted, it was funny watching 30, 40, 50 baddies per turn die to assault cannons. Again, I played Dark Angels for the tabletop version, so I tend to have a lot of assault cannons, because Deathwing is a thing. Them and Cyclone missile launchers. What's better than Terminator armor? Terminator armor with a missile launcher strapped to its shoulders. What's better than that? A missile launcher on its shoulders and a rotary cannon on its right arm. What's better than that? The guy next to him is protecting him with lightning claws. Terminator squads, the Deathwing assault squads, were just nasty in the edition of 40k that I played for the longest time. You could have a mix of close combat termies and ranged Terminators, and it was just hugely powerful. So we got hardware construction. We have an imminent rebellion in the Chill Road, but I'm not too worried about that. Thank you! The Grateful Earth. The Earth is more ancient than the Elven race and seems to favor your primacy. Perhaps it divines the gravity of the mission and in turn reduces its own That's a weird way to say it. For their troops find marching easier and less tiring than it was previously the case. Campaign movement ranges have increased faction-wide as a result. We have 5 turns of plus 15% movement range. It's going to get our guys back from the other areas pretty darn quickly. That's something I'm really happy about. So let's move Fady first. See how far inland she can get. And then we'll keep Chaplain with her. I'm interested to see what this Chaos Army does, because they got a couple of giants, a couple of hell cannons. They could potentially take Nagaron, and if they do, we don't gotta fight at Hotek's Column. Now, Sheena Yan, we need to get you up to the Gain Vale as quickly as possible.
Setting sail.
So we can start reinforcing you. That extra 15% movement for all armies is just beautiful. And we do have research available. So what are we going to do? Well, we don't really need the public order. I mean, we're going to have a couple of rebellions in the places we abandoned, but c'est la vie. Let's go with the Wardings of Vol. I don't know if we're going to get to it before we get to the last ritual, but something we can start now to make our already awesome Dragon Princes even more awesomer. Alright, so Maya, I'll give you the Shield of Safri, and then you can start on the next rank when we get there. But we need to get you guys down to Thorium
Time is of the essence.
as quickly as we can. Not really going to waste... Well, it is Calidor, but I don't want to waste any more gold than we have to. I think that's pretty much it for the stock stuff. We just have to go in and make sure our troops have all moved the proper distance. There's another skull reef there. But our elven army is on the land
Your
here.
decree, going forth.
Now, with any luck, Yllir will slip through there unnoticed. Won't be an issue. And now the last thing we gotta do is get these guys
Ready to serve.
booking it
We march on.
towards the game veil.
Faithful servant. I'm ready.
It's a couple of dragon commanders and a couple of smaller commanders. With any luck, we will get them there well within time to deal with other things. And if we get a little bit more gold next turn, we can send an intervention against any one of the other 3 factions, which I'm okay with. But let's let the other nations get into it and we'll see how it goes. Big reason why I'm holding off on the ritual in general is the second we do, we have to fight, and we're going to be fighting it out with a large chaos stack. Or it could be Ratmen, but that's essentially chaos in furry, teethy, bitey, scratchy form. I prefer Skaven, to be honest, rather than chaos stacks. Because if you haven't noticed up north, chaos giants, hell cannons, and lots of chaos warriors. It's a lot of pain. It's a lot to deal with. And I'd rather not deal with that on Ulthuan. That said, though, Ratman just means a lot of little armies. And once we start the ritual, it's basically hold on for dear life, fight until you cannot fight anymore. It's basically do or die at that point. And, well, while the enemy rituals are still going on for this phase, we don't have to worry about getting ahead of them. Once the first one of the enemy rituals completes, then we'll have to seriously look into getting involved with our ritual. It gives us a little bit of wiggle room as far as getting our troops back goes. Not a lot, but enough. And of course, if the Druki, Hexoatl, and Pestilence take a few hits along the way, it either slows them down or stops the rituals, I would not be opposed to that. Doesn't necessarily mean we can rely on that specific thing happening, but if it does, it does. Now, if the Order of Lore Masters could take one of those places, that would be great. Though it looks like the mortuary is under assault. So you never know. The forces that are down there could end up stalling the rituals and buy us even more time to set up. It's not a perfect plan, but it's kind of what I'm going with right now. We need at least a couple more turns before we can do anything major. The Druki don't worry me so much. If the forces over there take care of Nagorond, that basically takes the largest obstacle out of the way. Their capital city, they won't recover from a blow like that. Why is Thegan's errantry going towards Ulthuan? That's not a good sign. But even if they don't take Nagorond out, we can try and take Hotek's column. Maybe we should just burn it on the way by anyway. Be a quick and easy little bloodbath, and then our troops don't have to worry about, you know, enemy forces killing one another. And Grond is under siege.
Now that you are here, I will hear your words.
You know what? Anything that gets us out of a war right now lets us do a lot more. We did abandon Grond to its fate, but we'll let it buy a little bit more time. Now, the Vessels of Chaos, I don't know what they're doing. I don't even know what faction they were spawned as a result of. Think it might be Hexoatl? Pretty sure it's not Pestilence. That'd be the Warband of the Crow. Again, their leaders are always on those mammoths. Alright, so the Warband of the Serpent got destroyed. So I don't know what these guys are really up to.
Northmen come.
They're not exactly the greatest army stacks, and it looks like the force attacking Nagorond failed. So Hotek's column doesn't really have the greatest garrison in the world.
At your service.
I need Chaplain's force.
I second this. No mercy.
We'll get you to go in and throw
The
some
Asur
siege towers
need-
in.
Protector of Ulthuan.
Of course, Fady, we'll get you to come and reinforce him. Can you go into an
Ready to
encamp
serve.
stance? Yes, you
Prepare
can.
camp.
So that'll buy us a little bit of time by taking that out. Especially since we just declared peace with them. Might go up and deal with Garand this turn. Before we do anything else, though, let's get more of our army stacks in towards the Gaian Vale. The sooner all of our troops get there,
Where now? Taking up
the better
regiments.
off we're going to be.
We stand ready for action.
So Xinyan made it in. We're making 4 grand a turn. Let's grab a unit of Phoenix Guard. Don't really have a lot of archers. So we'll grab you another unit of spearmen and another unit of archers. Let's make it 2.
Guardian of the Phoenix.
Vincat, let's get you in near the Vale as well. Didn't want you to actually join with the army. We'll get you in there, set you up.
I'm listening.
Tania, you can go into Thorium.
Defender of the Asur.
And Felindre, you should be
Treading
within
lightly.
range there, and we'll get you to
Setting
camp. Again, we'll upgun you just a little bit. Now, Elair, where did you go? I don't like that you can't zoom this campaign map out as much as you can zoom the
Direct me.
Mortal Empires campaign out. So we got a Ruby Ring of Ruin and 10,000 gold.
Sailing
Definitely
away.
doesn't hurt. Send that off there. So now let's look at what the other factions are doing. Hexwell has 8 turns left, Nagorond has 6, and Clan Pestilence has 7. Just to make things a little bit easier on ourselves, we will send an intervention force in to deal with Nagorond. And that'll leave us a fair amount in the treasury, and then next turn we might be able to send another one. I have no idea where that intervention force showed up. Ah, right there.
Of course.
And if they come in and help out at this battle, that'd be great. Let's check out and see what Grond would be like if we sallied forth.
Bull, lend us your strength.
They have a lot of trolls. A lot of trolls. We have a lot of spearmen. This is Zoltar again. She already defended this place very effectively once. We have a dragon this time.
The Asur follow.
That's a level 26 general. That's going to be the tough part. Let's wait a turn and see if they engage. If they engage, we might fight that out, or we might just sacrifice Grond for what it is. We don't need the ritual resource anymore. So let's let the other nations do their thing, and we'll see what happens. Senina has finally caught up with her army and joined up with it, and Fëanor's coming back over to Ulthuan. Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to what the lore masters are actually up to. I'm really hoping that our intervention force gets close to Hotek's column. They automatically start military allied with you. So, if they get involved in that fight, Hotek's column's taken, and that's that. And one thing I've kind of overlooked in this entire playthrough is the soundtrack. It's beautiful. I know I kind of harp on about how much I enjoy this game for its aesthetic and audio quality and all that, but really when it comes together it's a nice package. Probably would explain why I've got over 600 hours invested in it. That was slightly unexpected. It's Lord Skrolk, that's why. It's their legendary lord. Maybe the lore masters will get smart and actually take out one of these ritual buildings. That's a lot of dragons. That is a lot of dragons.
I will hear your words, but I make no promises of aid.
Yes, we will take a non-aggression pact with you for 100 gold. That intervention force has like 5 star dragons. 5! Like, that's a little nuts. If Jlan Huapek, probably butchered that pronunciation, if they get involved with Clan Pestilence, that might work. I mean, Clan Morse has been gone forever. I'm kind of curious as to what Baron Thegan's errantry is doing. Are they going full Pirates of Sartosa on us? Never go full Pirates of Sartosa. I don't even think those pirates know what they're doing.
I despise you and all that you stand for. Speak.
Yeah. You're not at war with the lore masters anymore, so we can actually accept that and reduce the amount of enemies we have. At least temporarily. Alright, Warband of the Hound, what are you planning on doing? Destroying other Druchii cities. They've actually taken a city. Alright, Warband of the Crow, we're kind of counting on you to take at least one of those cities out. We've slowly been buying time for us to get back. The Druchii are pretty much screwed in this particular case. We've got a lot of strong forces near them, dealing a whole lot of damage.
Ulthuan.
There's another 10 grand and a scroll of power.
Across
Neelair,
the
you can
way.
sail out that way, and then down into that island. See what you can pick up on the oceans. I thought you were going to be dead by now, to be honest. since they didn't decide to get involved in the fight. We still got another turn before we can actually have a siege tower to get in there.
A strong leader is needed.
So we'll let it be for Phoenix and Fady. They're just going to raise Hotek's column to the ground.
Defender of the Phoenix throne. Traveling.
Princess of the
Phoenix and Sunshine, we need you to book it back towards the Gaian Vale.
Yes.
Fëanor, you're going to go help out Felindre.
Grant me your sight.
Vincat, you're going to go into encamp stance, making 3 grand a turn, so we're going to give you a couple of units of Phoenix Guard. Should give you a fairly solid front line anyway. I'll give you a couple of units of Valyrian Reavers. That should help you out a little bit. That's pretty much what we can do for this turn. Can't send another unit after Nagarond. But we can send one after Clan Pestilence. I just don't want to completely drain our treasury before we do anything else. We only have a few turns left. I don't think the Druchii are going to get to theirs before we actually assault. Because we'll be assaulting next turn and burn it to the ground. And they have to retake that city in order to complete the ritual, which I don't think they're going to do. I haven't even seen a Druchii army up in that region for the longest time. Clan Pestilence, different story, but we'll see how it goes. Let the other nations take over. The longer Grant holds out, if we get to the point where we start losing... Oh, Kothik joined with the Lore Masters. Well, that strengthens our alliance with them rather than hurting it. I'm actually okay with that. Ain't done too bad for yourself, my digital brother. Now, if you could screw up either the Druchii or the Ratmen, that would be great. Keep making raised eyebrow gestures at some of the choices their heroes make. Doesn't entirely make sense half the time. I was kind of hoping to start the ritual this week, but we may not get to it. I mean, we are coming down to the wire. My Dark Elf intervention was destroyed. But even coming down to the wire, I'm not really sure we want to push it too much. Ulthuan lost that fight. Our intervention just got wiped out. We are getting to the point where it's do or die, win or go home. And I can't really see us doing that. Oh yes, the High Elf intervention's in range of Hotek's column. Well, that intervention was money well spent, because they should be able to join us in the fight now, and that's a lot of dragons.
I am Tyrion, champion of the Everqueen.
Alright, so what do these guys want? They want a trade agreement, and you know what? I'm okay with that. Give us a little bit more intel on that shore. The Skaven sent an intervention against Hexoatl? I think maybe in the Mortal Empires campaign it might either be the Wood Elves, the Bretonnians, probably not the Empire.
Elves of Ulthuan have
No female
ruled
heroes or... you know, we'll accept that peace treaty. We don't really need to worry about it right now. But there's no really female heroes for the Empire amulets, whereas the Bretonnians and the Wood Elves definitely have female leaders. So that I can represent more of the 2-3-2. So I don't like going into this without you guys. Come on, Warband of the Crow. Alright, so Confederation with Kothik, Dark Intervention. Where is the Hung Warband anyway? Oh, right there. Led by a Fire Mage of all things. Alright, so let's go over here. Let's check on this assault. No, I don't want to do that. I want to go to Hotek's Column. And yes, yes indeed. It does push it out of the range that we will manually fight, so we'll resolve this.
The greater good has triumphed.
Now the dragons did some work, and we're going to raise that city to the ground. And now the Dark Elves have disjunction with their ritual. Senina gained a level too. I think Senina's pretty much got everything that's worth getting for spells. One more rank of Hand to Glory, then she can start going into the cool stuff. But with that all said and done, we could probably go take Clark Herond.
Victory for the Asur.
I always read it as the other direction. We'll give these guys one more turn here, and then we'll start booking it back to Ulthuan. There is an Admiral out at sea, and I don't really want to fight a Black Ark if we can avoid it. As for our armies inland...
Protector of Ulthuan.
well, Sunshine,
We go.
get in there,
I'm ready.
and Phoenix. So they should be ready in a couple of turns to get through. And the Dark Elves have been... ooh! Skeggie's been destroyed for Hexoatl. Hotek's Column for the... so only Clan Pestilence has all three available for their ritual. How did they lose Skeggie? Oh well, it stops the ritual from going through. That's all that really matters. Which means the only one that has an active chance is Clan Pestilence.
Gladly.
I wonder if we could convince our buddies to do this.
Wisdom
Order of Lore
awaits.
Masters. War Coordination target. Oh, we can't even target Sabaton. Sneaky little ratses. Anyway guys, since we're coming up to the 40-minute mark, that's probably going to do it for this week. Definitely get involved in the ritual next week. Almost guaranteed, because we're set up for it, and all of our heroes are getting into place. Almost ready to see this through. So if you liked the video, guys, please consider hitting that like button. If you'd like to join up with the 232, see your name pop up in one of these Let's Plays, or just be part of our community, just hit the subscribe button, and make sure you turn your notifications on so you don't miss when a new video goes up. And remember guys, life is a game, so play to win, and until next time, take care.